Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bold Analysis. The 15th of February, two serious observations I made in Parliament. Number one is the fact that the Parliament was empty. The chamber was very empty. And when you ask the Parliament journalists who work in Parliament, they're painting a picture that most of those MPs were just around the Parliament buildings. Most of them just retreated in their offices and just decided not to attend the sessions because of the affordable housing debate that was going on. Number two, or initially what happened was there was a plan to ensure that the sound system was compromised so that most of them would not want to debate live on camera. In fact, there was, before that, there was some discussion of whether they must not go live. The Parliament media team do not stop the live stream so that the debate are just done there. Remember, there inside there, no one has a photo or video of the other person. And that failed. So quite a number kept off the Parliament. And I want to play for you some two videos showing you what exactly happened. And I remember the Homa Bay women rep who really shredded that affordable housing bill, the amendments that were presented there by Kimani Ichung'wah, even complaining of that sound system.
Malfunction. So this will go to her. Just give her the microphone where she is.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And I believe the ICT personnel will all be reviewing our gadgets before we come into sessions so that I'm not experiencing frustration, which I've experienced for the last 4.5 hours. But I thank you for understanding. Now, when I read through this proposed bill, actually all the schedules have gaps. And I would say that I support it is a total scam. And I want to start by saying, Mr. Speaker, sir, that this is a bill that as legislatures in this House, we must stand to oppose until we are convinced beyond reasonable doubts in terms of implementation. A good proposal, which even Azimio had in the manifesto, as our minority leader stated. I want to say and talk from the perspective of a project plan. And I want to dismiss instantly. There is no project which is implementable to conclusion without definite parameters of implementation, clear framework, and sustainability, which is output of a project. In this affordable housing, there is nowhere that we are mentioning sustainability. So the technocrats were not involved in this. A few people with their own passion and quest and thirst that they want to fulfill, sat down, coined, and put it on paper. And no wonder it is being sneaked in as a rush. As legislators who are representing the citizens of this country, we know very well that we are undergoing tough times in this country. Even the members of the legislatures in this House are finding it rough. Because when we get our pay slips, they are zero, deducted. You can't even understand from where you are coming from and where you are heading to. Yet we are the representatives of the people. This brings me to the question, what about the common mwananchi who is not employed, is not even near Mama Mboga, who can sell even 1,000 shillings per day? I want to say that this kind of affordable housing that we are talking about today, in the objects of the Constitution, primarily, we are saying that fairness is not taken care of. And when we are talking about fairness in this country, when the Constitution is highlighting on fairness, there is no fairness even on the deduction of the employed. There is no fairness of other members of this country on how they are going to foot the taxes. Under the objects of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to say that inclusive.
And that is what I was telling you guys about, that there was a problem with that sound system. And of course, just coming out, you know, that bill was being taken to Parliament for amendments that had been proposed by the High Court when the High Court termed that bill unconstitutional. Some of the provisions that were really, that Justice Majanja bench really argued was the fact that that levy was not inclusive. It was some injustice, it was unfair, only to be collecting money from employed Kenyans with not ensuring that the net also captures those who are unemployed. And of course, those are some of the provisions there, and that is why you see the women rep is questioning the inclusivity. Now, I have seen and I've had many presentations on affordable housing and different angles, people arguing about, remember when I told you there is the question of the rationale and the reasoning about it. And I think Gadoni Wambuchoma today gave me a different perspective that we had not, many of us had not looked at, in terms of how affordable is this. As much as we say dignified life, how would owning a house in a fifth floor of an apartment give you dignified life? You have a family or introducing some people. There is a question. Number two, Gadoni Wambuchoma is also asking a very easy and a very interesting question. Huh? How affordable is it? How is it supporting? What is the interpretation of affordability if those who are in Turkana are used to building without those, without use of cement, and the concept of affordability being the cement and matofali and the stones? What about it? And I think she really presented something that even the president, the proponents got stranded with it. This is Gadoni Wambuchoma for you.
I will be consistent and I shall remain so. Not because I do not like the policies that are laid down by Kenya Kwanza government, but because I am in this house to pursue the interest of the people I do represent. And the people I do represent are people who have priorities, and the people that I do represent are people who understand the mathematics of making money from the farms and making their livelihoods better. Mr. Speaker, the spirit behind this bill was to dignify the way we live, was to make housing affordable, and make housing accessible in line with the Kenyan Constitution, Article 43. Mr. Speaker, I am excited that the courts of Kenya found it worth to give a clear and sober direction over the existence of a law that oversighted the need to align ourselves with the Constitution of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, when I speak about dignity, you can only be dignified if you are living in a house that the community where you live in appreciate as a home. A home where your in-laws can come in, can enjoy a cup of tea, can enjoy a cup of music, can enjoy a cup of uji, and get an opportunity to enjoy sunlight. I do not expect that this block of flats that we are proposing we are going to construct in our homesteads are going to dignify our community lives. In fact, they are going to defranchise the cultural setups in our backyard. I cannot imagine my mother-in-law coming to my house in a 6th floor block and live opposite another neighbor who doesn't speak her vernacular and expect her to feel comfortable in such a setting if really you want to dignify me and dignify my people. We cannot come here to purport that we are dignifying people, and we are removing them from their cultural setup, away from what they can access for their cultural dignity, to bring them to a contemporary, modern understanding of what dignity is all about. Mr. Speaker, when I speak about dignity, I will be very excited as a member of parliament, specifically as a woman leader who has served in Kiambu County, and I understand Kiambu County very well. I will be excited if I could hear that we are dignified the people of Ruaboli slums in Kikuyu constituency, where majority leader comes from. I'll be very happy to hear that we are giving all the people who live in Ruaboli slums, Kiambori, yes, Kiambori slums. Thank you, majority leader. I would be very happy to hear that the people who are living in Kiambori slums, all of them are going to be dignified, and they're going to be given these houses in the most affordable way for them, remembering that most of them living in the slums have no constant income. They are not employed. I'll be very excited if these houses are going to be given to the people who are living in Thika constituency, in a Geshagi known as Geshagi Kia Madharau, meaning it is a village of indignified life. I'll be very happy if these houses are dignifying those people. I'll be very, very happy if these houses are dignifying the life of the people who live in Gashagi Kamaratadi. That is in a village of houses made of paper, nylon paper, in Lari constituency. I'll be very, very happy. But looking at what has been done in the past, when this house tax and levies were introduced in this house, the houses that are being constructed, for example, the ones that have been constructed in Roilo, there is nobody from Gasogi Kamadharau can afford those houses. The deposit they are in, 400,000 per house, they cannot afford. So what dignity are we talking about here? Who are we dignifying? Mr. Speaker, when you speak about accessibility, we are only constructing these houses in the urban areas. How accessible are these houses going to be to the people who live in extreme corner of my constituency, for example, the people who live in Madhaja village in Gedega constituency of Githunguri County, sub-county? If we actually do the houses in Githunguri town, for example, how accessible are we going to align ourselves within the constitution? Because this is the spirit of the constitution. That is why I am opposing this bill. Actually, this bill, according to me, should not be called the Affordable Housing Bill 2023. It should actually, if we really are serious, we should call it the Affordable and Social Housing Bill 2023. And the social means accommodating those people living in the nylon papers houses, like I have explained, because that is the spirit of the Constitution. So I am happy because I have put in amendments. I hope those amendments are going to be considered on the floor of this house so that my contributions and my thoughts and other people's thoughts who are thinking like I am thinking can be put in place. Mr. Speaker, when I speak about affordability, I do not think that the concept of stone and cement is what is affordable to my voters. I do not think that the concept of cement and stones and concrete is what is affordable to somebody in Turkana. Why can't we then, if you are calling them affordable, use the most affordable materials that are available in the villages? Why must you force me to adopt your concept of concrete and stones and cement, and that is not affordable to me? That is affordable to you because of your income levels. It is not affordable to me. To the people of Turkana, who are used to making their houses using wood cut from the trees and the cow dung to smear the houses and look beautiful, to them that is what they can afford in their backyard. Why are you going to introduce the concrete and stones in Turkana and they are not affordable there? By the way, stones and cement are only affordable in Nairobi and Kiambu County, where we have quarries. You go to the coastal part of region, in the coastal region, there are no stones. Why are they designing for houses to use stones from Darugo quarries in Kiambu County? And trucks have to leave Thika or Roiro to go all the way to deliver stones in Kwale County, for example. Isn't it this a business model for some people? So that is why I am opposing this bill. I have put my amendments on the floor. I hope they are going to be considered.
One minute, Honorable Wambuchoma. What's out of order, Honorable?
So, very interesting. And I want to say you something. I managed to sample Kimani Chungwa and some other UDA MP, I think Yuanangeno. Even the proponents of the affordable housing bill in Parliament are not passionately defending it. And for some obvious reasons, they seem not to be giving it a quality argument. They don't have a quality argument. In fact, what they're doing, they're just repeating things that William Ruto have been saying in political party rallies, and also, you know, creating the props about this bill, about how Kenyans have gone, are even saying about how they want to continue, you know, they even want to contribute and own those houses. You could just see the reason why they kept off is something very clear. I wanted to get this snippet of that to explain why KK leaders are shying away from the affordable housing amendment debate. So that is what I was talking about, that people are clearly shying away. Before I get to those details, I want to humbly request you to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos. Thank you very much for those who have been supporting, those who have been subscribing. Continue subscribing as we endeavor to produce you the best political analysis in this country. It is something very predictable, and it doesn't need magical science to see the housing scheme. These amendments, the MPs do not understand. In fact, they were not carried along from the word go. That is why they can't even afford, they can't even defend it. There is some secret in this affordable housing that no one seems to be talking about. But I do think that some fellows within these corridors understand, but they just can't tell the country. As to whether the money goes into building houses, it is very questionable. Because the houses that William Ruto has launched, the houses that the levy collection started last year. Now in this January, ndio tunaona launching inafanyika, people are launching, affordable houses units are being launched. And from the word go, there was a PPP model where those who are supposed to build houses were supposed to be investors. What government should be building around those areas is roads, water, connect electricity, and build schools and hospitals. That was the ideology. But as things go, you see, you know, affordable housing units being erected in some prime land somewhere where there's already water, sewage, schools are there, hospitals, and then that one is not going into it. And even as much as the country is talking about amendment and how it is going to create more jobs, I think Kenya Kwanza MPs, they are clique that do not understand, and the failure to understand is not by accident. That is a choreographed script to ensure that only a few understand. When Gathuna Mushopa says it's very scandalous, we think she's politicking. But in the fullness of time, I think Kenyans when the whole thing, if by any chance we'll have an opportunity to know the truth, then it will go to history as one of the most scandalous projects. You will be shocked that the money is being collected might not really directly be going into that. Remember, we started implementing it before even we enacted a legislation around it. So KRA was collecting this money and taking to the consolidated fund, the same fund that pays salary to civil servants, the same fund that runs the debt account that we used to pay our debt, and the development account that we used to use for our development. So quite a number of things, there is some mix-up. Number two, I think I still insist, and I've said this in the past, affordable housing is a project, it's a breeding site for very huge tenders, very serious tenders. And I'm not shocked that they're being erected in some counties. County governments are just told to give land for this project without anything. The MPs are being asked to go and enact the law and pass amendments. But who is the supplier of the cement? Who is the supplier of the windows? So these tenders, there is an inside war on these tenders. Why should I support something that is not benefiting me? We need to say the truth. The MPs are not going to be beneficiaries of those houses. The MPs have their own schemes and they have their own houses and their own homes. They have homes in towns and homes in up country. You cannot doubt their ability. So I think there is a standard setback, and that's why people are setting back. Number 3, the MPs are also understanding the hostility. Contrary to the poetic talk on this project is going to create jobs, this project is going to eliminate slums, they understand very well that there is hostility from the middle class. These MPs have their relatives working in private sector, even in government, and they are feeling the pinch of being deducted without even having a guarantee of getting the house. I think that public hostility, and that is why they wanted even the sound to go down so that someone will not capture their clips, because their opponents on ground will use this against them. That is my take. But again, it is 2024 is not going to be very easy. It's a breaking point for William Ruto. These patches and temporary solutions that are coming, I don't think are going to help the situation. Asante.